Hi, this is Stephen from Own or Disown. In today's video, I am reviewing the Gigabyte Aorus 5. Now the unit I have has a 9th gen CPU and costs $899, with the GTX 1650, whilst the new 10th generation i7-10750H and the GTX 1650 Ti is at $1,300. And if you prefer a 17-inch, you can opt for the Aorus 7, which Bob of All Trades reviewed. He liked it very much. The lid is made out of plastic. It shows a few smudges, but it is very durable and easy to clean. The reflective silver Aorus logo and ridges does show that it's a gaming laptop, but I still think it's subdued enough to fit into most use case scenarios. The new 10th gen has a cleaner looking lid without those ridges. The aluminum keyboard deck is solid and doesn't show much in the way of fingerprints or smudges. The one-piece Windows Precision trackpad works fine. Gigabyte does give you a separate number pad, but I found that the keycaps to be on the smaller side. Here it is alongside the Mech 15 G3. But the keys do feel okay, with a decent distance of travel, and it does have a nice clean look. I like the power button. It's separate from the rest of the keyboard and cannot be accidentally pressed. Using their software, you have full control of the key lighting as well. Now the key lighting is RGB in 3 different zones, various different patterns of course. But yeah, the 3 zones are like that, and of course there are actually 2 levels of brightness by pressing the space bar. So here's the underside of the Aorus 5. It's plastic with some good air ventilation. There's 10 Phillips head screws to remove, and there's one here underneath a warranty sticker. Very hard to remove actually, it's very tight, the clips back here, but persevere and it will come off. So inside we have the 51 watt hour battery, 3 cells, and it's good for about 3.5 hours. We do have 2 DIMM slots, of course they're occupied, that's nice. Killer 1550i or 9560 Wi-Fi card, easily replaceable. We do have a 2.5-inch base, that's nice for extra storage because we only have the one M.2 slot which is occupied by the Intel 9060p. And we've got an interesting design here, 2 shared heat pipes with 1 separate one, so that's 3 in all, and the 2 fans blowing out 1 central location here. The 10th gen model has 1 extra heat pipe and now has 2 heatsinks for the GPU and 1 for the CPU, which can cool an impressive 150 watts. So I wouldn't be surprised to see the RTX 2060 in that model to be at least the 90 watt version. At idle, the fans are pretty quiet, and pressing FN and the 1 key switches between normal and max fan, but both are at about 50 decibels when under load. Most of the heat is concentrated to the right hand side, so the WASD keys are nice and cool. Underneath, it does get rather hot though, so I wouldn't recommend gaming on your lap. The speakers fire up through a grill above the keyboard. Volume is average, but since the fans are not too loud, they are fine for casual gaming use. Good news for those using the laptop for real-time audio, as it passed my latency test. So the panel, IPS panel 1080p, is pretty nice. It's 94% of sRGB, 64% of NTSC, 69% of Adobe RGB, and 70% of the P3 color space. Gigabyte may not be the cheapest out there, but they don't make cheap cuts like some of their competitors. Look at how the brightness of the Aorus 5 panel compares to that of the 120Hz IdeaPad Gaming 3. There's simply no comparison at all. Even looking at its ghosting performance compared to a typical 240Hz panel, it does very well. Even under bright light, the screen copes well as well. And the backlight bleed? There's a little bit on the bottom right hand corner, but generally not too bad. And the bezels are fairly slim, certainly at the sides. The top, of course, is a little bit thicker, and because it's made out of plastic, and there's a bit of flex there. But all in all, you know, I think it's okay for its price point, and the webcam is located at the top. So here's the 720p webcam. I think it looks okay, but the audio from the mic is not that great. And when we activate the max fan, you'll see it picks up the ambient noise quite a lot. As for software, Gigabyte give you full control over your Wi-Fi traffic and speeds via the Killer Control Center. You will notice that the Aorus Control Center gives you 5 CPU and 2 GPU power levels. All the CPU power levels set the short-term power to 80 watts, but varies the long-term power limit. At 0, the power is set at 38 watts. Here's Far Cry 5 using this setting, but just changing the GPU level. At the top is a GPU at level 0, and at the bottom, level 1. which does increase the boost clock of the GTX 1650 slightly, so I do use that level for my testing. Now I show the CPU levels 1, 2, 3 and 4 and set the power limits to 45 watts, 52 watts, 58 watts and 62 watts respectively. You will notice that with level 4, the Aorus 5 power throttles, and anything above 45 watts is hard for the system to cool. Here is Battlefield 5 Ultra settings. At the top, I show the CPU at level 0 or 38 watts, and at the bottom, level 3 or 58 watts. It is clear that the lowest power level is the one to use, and to be fair to Gigabyte, it is very good that they give the user this option because many don't and leave the end user having to tweak things themselves. Since the new Aorus 5 will have Intel's 10th gen i7-10750H, I compared it against the IdeaPad Gaming 3. First up is Shadow of the Tomb Raider, and it certainly seems that the new CPU holds a slight advantage, even at higher settings in this game. But bear in mind this is just one single game, so let's take a look at Far Cry 5 Ultra settings, and the reverse is true. I think it is safe to say that you are not going to see much change in frame rates between these 6-core CPUs, and it's good to see for those looking to save money with last-gen hardware, you are not going to lose any gaming performance. One other thing I like is that Gigabyte gives you the utility to check for updates. This is much appreciated as it means you don't need to scour through the support pages and see which updates are newer than what you already have installed. So on the left hand side we have the Kensington lock, RJ45, we have activity lights for the hard drive and the power indicator, USB 3.1 Gen 1 Type A port, accepts charging your mobile devices, combo headphone mic jack, an SD card reader that does accept cards all the way in. And on the right hand side we have the second USB 3.1 Gen 1 Type A port. There's only two, but we do have a USB-C port here, which is nice, and that includes DisplayPort 1.2, and we have an HDMI 1.4 with a power connector on the right hand side at the back. So the weight, we're looking at 4 pounds 11 ounces, and with the 180 watt power brick, about 6 pounds. So how would I sum up the Aorus 5? Well, I did enjoy using it. It has a clean looking design with no glaring red or green accents associated with some other gaming laptops. The fan noise is quieter than most, and although it struggles to cool more than 45 watts when using the GPU at the same time, it doesn't impact your frame rate when using the lower power profiles. Its gaming performance is the same as the newly released laptops using the Ryzen and Intel 10th gen, so you may find some value here. I thought the screen was very good, especially for a laptop costing under $1,000. It is as good as most 144Hz panels out there. I think it is a solid gaming laptop, and I look forward to seeing how the new cooling design fares in their new model. Make sure to visit the Aorus website where you can buy this model, as well as the new Aorus 5 and Aorus 7. I have a link in the description below. If you found my video useful, consider subscribing, as I have a host of new laptops to review. Thank you for watching. Bye now.